Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our fourth episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. So, there was a little goof at the end of the last episode. So, the video recording software I'm using only lets you record up to 2 hours. So, the last, couple minutes of me playing ended up getting it just got cut out. It's not there whatsoever. There wasn't much that I was missed. It basically was the transition to the next chapter, so I didn't make any decisions or anything like that yet. But realizing this, a 2 hour video probably isn't the most appealing to watch. So I'm probably going to start actually recording these in about 30-minute chunks that because I don't actually know any editing skills, so that's why there was a 2 hour video last time. And there's awkward pause in the middle of it, and then I thought about editing it, and then I didn't edit it. So there's a weird transition in the middle where there would have been a transition between episodes, but there's not. So I'm just gonna here on out just record around 30-minute chunks and try to make the transitions natural. I'm not gonna go for exactly 30 minutes. I'm just gonna go around 30 minutes and then come to what I feel like the natural place to stop and then move on to the next episode. So I hope that makes it more appealing. And I'm very new at this, so I'm looking for ways to continually improve my channel and make it more appealing. So I should probably have actually official thumbnails, have consistent titles, good descriptions, like a filled out about me section, my YouTube channel. But hey, right now, this is just completely amateur, doing it for fun. I promoted it to my friends and just was like, "Hey, I'm doing this. You know, here it is." Not expecting anything to happen with it because really I'm just doing this because I really just love the storytelling aspect. I love narrating. I've always thought I might just enjoy being a voice actor, but I've never had any formal training or pursued that, and just I just enjoyed acting in general. So I'm just doing this for a lot of fun. But if it ever does, get I do get a couple of more consistent subscribers, people coming back, I want to be able to then provide consistent content. But before that happens, I'm just going to do it, because I'm very passionate about what I'm doing right now. But I did, I did have to remove some comments from my videos because people were spamming porn links in the videos. So that's cool. Good to see that there's porn bots on YouTube. But no, let's get back into it. Move on to the next chapter. So I go on back to the start of the chapter. It was like I said, it was just a transition. So you left your hometown to study in the imperial capital. What life awaits you in Eterna? What will you study, and where will you go? When push comes to shove, which road will you take? Your youth awaits, and the years to come will determine the nature of your destiny and your place in society. So this is where it seems we get to choose between the three main paths, choosing lotless, priest, nobleman, and apparently we can also just die in this. It says you can get four deaths, or apparently there's just gonna be a decision where you can just die. So we're gonna try to avoid that one because I'd rather not just have this end on Iron Man. I don't know how that's gonna work with Iron Man. If it's gonna allow me to go back or not. So we're just gonna try not to die. So talking about what can happen in this chapter, so it looks like we can rescue another girl. She's a singer, so she can die. It looks like she can get burned at the stake for probably being a witch. So there's collapse of the Lotless. You fail to protect the Lotless. The Empire utterly destroys the secret society. So this is the secret society path. Likely, if you had taken up Gloria and begun an Inquisitive in the last chapter, then this would be where you'd be going. But I will, as I talked in the last episode, I'll be pursuing because there's three main. You can either I learned, I think it talks about it a little bit later, that there's three main endings. There's the judge ending, which is pursuing the noble path. There's the inquisitor ending for pursuing the religion path. And then there's the lotless ending where you seem to become some kind of, you stage a coup or something to that extent. So collapse of the lotless. This is probably if you fail as the lotless to successfully, do your scheme. You have the lotless at large. The secret society lives. So this is where you're gonna probably go as you go into peacetime. You're going to be planning the revolt, and then you go actually into the revolt. Bond of friendship. We can become friends with Tomas. Shield of the new faith. So this is the new versus old religion. With that guy getting murdered, you know if you're going to go in the new religion or the old religion. And then a victory in the tournament, which you're definitely going to be going for. We needed the fencing lesson. We already have the necessary valor. And then we need to fight with your father. And we need to pursue being a nobleman. So, yes, I am going to choose to pursue the nobleman. And then it showed in the last episode, it showed it adding together the stats from the previous two chapters to give me the stats I have now. So we ended up with, oh, this is where it says what ending. So it says most important to the judge. So I have 9 diplomacy, which is, pretty decent, I would say. 7 theology, 7 manipulation, 11 valor, 9 eloquence, and 9 scheming. So we are going to try to pursue diplomacy and valor in the coming times. To pursue the noble path and the judge. Because I talked about last time, I think the best way in order to change a society is from the inside out rather than causing a giant coup, a scheme. Because you often just return to the way things started when you do throw a coup, as what happened in the American Revolution and the Shades Rebellion and such. So that's my thoughts. But let's get now actually into the chapter. Let's start making some decisions. So let's go. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the game has awaiting us. Ooh, so youth is only a couple of years, but I imagine there's going to be a lot of events in the years. So arrival in the capital. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. You and Tomas spend the days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon, it crosses from the familiar barren, arid lands of Magra to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at a roadside inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep it a secret from the servant who drives the cart. Oh, naughty, naughty. We're drinking wine. I wonder. Adult life feels positively intoxicating. Nice joke. Tom. Oh, look at you, Tomas. You're looking good. Soon, I tell you, soon we'll be there, and I'll earn my sword as soon as I get accepted in the military academy. You'll see. And then nobody's gonna walk all over me like I'm some commoner. You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon, you are almost at the end of your long journey. You have left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Arcania. Eterna, the capital, is right ahead. Situated at the junction between the Reglata and Tolerina rivers, the city is vast. 3 majestic stone bridges keep its 3 shores interconnected. Smooth stone paves the main city streets. Gilded moldings decorate the buildings. Towering pillars reach high into the sky. Your carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains and intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Arcanian coats of arms and abundant merchants' tents filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spires of ancient temples dot the city skyline. The carriage comes to a halt on a large city square with a towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Tomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is at the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out onto the street and say brief goodbyes to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then, your friend disappears into the crowded streets of the capital. You are left to your own devices in this vast city. A group of nobles walk past. They are dressed in well-fitting clothing decorating with gems and golden thread. You aren't even noticed. Street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Army are marching to fifes and drums towards the barracks. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great temple of the twins. There are sounds of music, and fountains, and the smell of baked bread, and garbage drains. You quickly check in at the lodging house, then go back outside. The sun's setting now. The streetlights come to life. Merry music fills the taverns. Couples in noble coaches with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadows and hushed voices and laughter fill the parks. You are alone in the city, so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They are about your age. Their clothes are hand-tailored, and two of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. It might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. Loud music from a large establishment on the corner distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. It seems like there will be a gathering inside, but you don't know of what. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door of the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you better get quickly inside. Then you look at the great temple of the twins at the far end of the street. The pillar shines in the evening dusk above it. The temple gates are open, and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for ordinary service. This must be something important. What do they preach here in the capital? What do they say of the new faith and the teachings of Patriarch Photis? You snap out of your reverie when you notice loud laughter. A group of young men dressed in the colors of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They're making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It is an invitation to join them. They turn the corner and walk away, but you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the street. A night of revelry and jolly loud fun doesn't sound half bad. This is your first night in Turna. No matter what to choose, you will remember it for a long time to come. So we can meet the noble students, which gives us a diplomacy and a manipulation. We can listen to Arkwright's speech, which gives us a manipulation and elegance. We can visit the great temple to Trim, which gives us a theology and eloquence, and all of those cost 5 willpower each. Or we can run after the students, and this will give us 10 willpower. Well, like, it is good. I feel like I should gain some willpower though, because currently I really do not want to go into negative willpower. For one diplomacy is nice, but it costs put me at -5. So I think I'll just run after the students, join in on their merriment. It's my first night here, dude. I can enjoy myself for a little bit. Arrival in the capital. The students' merriment is infectious. You join their group. They are almost your age, maybe 1 or 2 years older. You see so many faces, and soon you're in a tavern somewhere in the city, getting to know so many people at a massive table. So many people you don't even bother to remember their names, and the wine, it flows like water. A lively tune is playing in the tavern. A girl just a bit older than you pulls you off your seat to dance. Her dress is unbuttoned a bit more than it's supposed to be. She smells of wine and honey. You copy her motions in the dance as your hands clasp her waist. It slides lower of its own accord. She pulls away suddenly and stares in your eyes, then kisses you on the lips. You're startled at first, but soon you respond to the kiss as you pull her soft, supple body even closer to you. Wow, my dude's a player! Look at him go! Dude, she went for it too. Like, he didn't even initiate. Like, how does my dude even know how to dance? I never freaking danced to my knowledge. Or how to make moves. You spend all night dancing, only returning to the table to catch your breath and quench your thirst. The girl keeps embracing you and laughing, and pouring even more wine into your glasses. You feel at ease. You feel carefree. You feel happy. You do not remember returning to the lodging house. Your head and legs are aching in the morning. You can barely even remember the names of last night's companions. After some consideration, you choose to remain in bed for the rest of the new day. So we get our good old 10 willpower. So now we have surplus willpower to work with moving forward. And hopefully this will allow us to, make more impactful decisions. That'll give us more than just like one diplomacy. So, year 1134. You arrive in Eterna, the ancient capital of the blessed Arcanian Empire. You have spent the last 3 days studying books, but today you decide to take a walk through the streets of Eterna. They're full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walks through the square. You notice that one of them holds a banner of the New Faith, an open book. This is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Photis on the day of his assassination, you know. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting at a small pedestal depicting a gray-haired man with glowing green eyes. You recognize that face. The face of the late Patriarch Photis. Oh, he's become a martyr for the New Faith. It makes sense. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bear a white and gold cloak with the coats of the arms of the capital province embroidered on it. He is Luke, Patriarch of Arcania. He casts a stern gaze over the crowd. I speak to all who live within the sight of the shining pillar. Exactly 1 year ago we lost Photis, Patriarch of the Mega Province, mentor of the New Faith. Patriarch Photis was the first to see the books of Ischias for nothing but the words of man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path of the gods in their own hearts, instead of blindly following the lots, to seek answers in the lives of the twins and their own hearts, rather than the words of priests. Basically Martin Luther. Through Patriarch Photis, we were able to see the truth. Through his death, we saw that his words are not heresy. They are the truth that used to be obscured by Ischias' lies. And now I bring good news. Patriarch Junius Diamond has seen to it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Wow. Yes, Junius Diamond, an Arcanian from a great dynasty and the Patriarch of Astania, has joined the New Faith himself. And through this we hope that the entire empire will soon see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots. We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth. And one day, the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers. The believers around you bow their heads in prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they are given as they usually would, but for the chance to choose their own path. The Patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet in a sign of prayer. It compels your lips to repeat the words of the New Faith. Patriarch Luke's sermon forms a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. You recall the murder of Patriarch Photis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share this doctrine now. The news of Junius Diamond joining the New Faith is stunning. If an Arcanian from a great dynasty has sided with Photis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equal under the twins, the New Faith must truly be putting down roots. But suddenly, several figures appear by the podium, figures clad in black with glinting silver at their sides. Inquisitors! They push through the crowd and form a circle around Patriarch Luke. One of the priests rises before the crowd. He's clean-shaven, tall, with chiseled features. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all. I am Father Ultrich. In the names of the twins and of my right as an Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full of lies. Patriarch Luke has set out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers no other choice. You are hereby dispersed at once. Most people leave the square immediately. Few want to get involved with the Inquisition. Some people stay, however. And some even shout angrily, "We want to listen to Luke. He is the patriot of Arcania, and he has more to say. Get away from our servant, old believers. We will not listen to you and your hoary old lies about the lots." Inquisitors, bring those who may yet listen back to their lots, and leave the others to the champions of faith. The black-clad Inquisitors descend from the podium and approach the people who chose to stay. With nothing but their words, they make people stop shouting and start listening. The uproar ceases quickly. They have dissected the crowd, split into smaller groups that surround each Inquisitor. One of these Inquisitors chooses to approach you. He's a humble-looking man of age with a rough haircut. He looks you straight in the eyes. His lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. "My name is Friar Jeremiah. I know your thoughts are stirred by the Patriarch's words. You're not sure who to trust. But I teach you at the seminary. I've been studying the teachings of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know can hear what I have to say. I know can hear what I have to say. Excuse me? I know you can hear what I have to say. I see the faith in your eyes, the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son?" You feel no malice in the words of the Inquisitor Jeremiah, only hope. It is a lot to aid you, to guide you away from error and set you on the path of the true faith. He is a priest, so he should know the truth. Or perhaps the Inquisitor himself is in the wrong. So we get to listen to his counsel, which makes us more theological, debate him, which makes us more eloquent, or resist him, it makes us more diplomatic. Well, we know which skill we're working towards. We're working for diplomacy, and what's the other one named? Forget. It's diplomacy and valor. So we are going to resist him and get diplomacy. And plus, I don't believe in the words of this old faith, so that makes the decision even easier. You strike a pose of authority and eye Pharaoh Jeremiah sharply. Inquisitors cannot order people around, you say? It's not within the lot of the clergy. Only nobles can give you orders. The other commoners look at you in terror. You've just defied an Inquisitor. However, fair Father Jeremiah still looks at you without any of the anger you had expected. "My son, your words do indeed contain a germ of truth. I'm an Inquisitor of the clergy, and, by the will of the twins, I cannot give you any orders. But know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I'm not merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you any orders. But, if the need arises, I will summon the champions of faith, nobles who will be there to give orders and punish those who defy the church. But as long as you're not calling for the overthrow of faith, you are safe from them. And, as you said, it is not within my lot to give you orders. You are free to go, but accept no mercy in the hereafter, for after we die, there will be none." With a bitter smile, the Inquisitor leaves you and proceeds further. You leave the square freely, your dignity preserved. The remaining people in the square continue arguing with the other Inquisitors. Armed champions of faith stand nearby, but do not intervene. Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen. Only one thing keeps nagging at you. Father Jeremiah's words about how there will be no mercy in the hereafter. So we get +1 to diplomacy. Now we're not unknown. We are promising. Nice. Get that easy +1 diplomacy. So, boop, 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 boop. Year 1134, Fall, the advance of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles of the mantles of the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons, with Luke's blessings. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. Two mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the patriarch of Arcania himself, spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Arcania, his every sermon adding to the new faith flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Daimon. Hailing from a great Arcanian dynasty, he is the de facto ruler of Astynia province. Adored by his subjects, he has founded the holy order anew. Junius Daimon rarely preaches, but people believe the Astynian patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. The schism within the church is growing. The split has further divided between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there has been no direct conflict as of yet. But it has become clear there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Photis, it grows stronger by the day. Ooh, yep, we're entering a schism and there's discontent. So yeah, it makes sense that they put us in the schism because now we can decide moving forward whether we want to instill the new faith or keep the old faith. Honestly, probably going for the new faith, but we'll see. The city that never sleeps. The new weeks pass by for the hard work and preparation for the incoming entrance exam at the Imperial College. You grow more and more exhausted with each passing day, so much so that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it is high time to get some recreation outside. The city of Eterna amazes you as you stroll through its splendid streets. It is another night, a different night, yet the city is beautiful still. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark night sky. The lamps on the facades of the building are lit. Night descends on the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. I was just going to say, with how lengthy these individual years are getting, I think it would make sense to do 1 year per video. Recently, you made the acquaintance of several young men. They are children of the nobles of the mantle just like you, sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college. You decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the next street over, loudly discussing their plans for the next night. Some eagerly speak of a dueling club, where you can see the most skilled and ardent duelers in the Empire doing what they do best. You've never seen professional duelers fight. It must be far more exciting than Father's fencing lessons or that fight in the ruins of Anazot. And if luck favors you, perhaps you can even make useful connections among the noble families in the capital. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say, a young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs in the Empire. There are many questions about the nature of the place and identity of the mysterious speaker. But the young men have only one answer. They are forbidden to speak about this outside the club. However, they can take you as long as you aren't afraid to learn a dangerous truth. There are still others, drinking their fill of wine rather than eating. Fencing, they say? Speeches? Nonsense. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is the Markian Society, gathering those of common estate but uncommon opinions that offers pleasures for everyone. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of drink, even pleasures of the flesh. Is this not heresy and a crime? Perhaps, and yet some of the newfound friends are eager to go there. In the end, your group splits into 3 to spend the night as they see fit. Will it be a contest featuring the best fencers in Eterna? An establishment both mysterious and dangerous? Or an encounter with people who defy their lot with audacity? You weigh the options. Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to go to the dueling club because that's going to give me a valor. Secret salon gives me a scheming. Well, going to the Market Society gives me a theology. But I want to invest in valor, so we are going to go to the dueling club. I find it interesting Like at the beginning of the game, I said I was going to balance everything, but now as I've gotten older, I've realized I need to specialize in something because I can't do it all. That's a very true statement in life as well, as people go off to study specific disciplines and get certain skills rather than becoming masters of a variety of topics. It's just because there isn't the ability. There's too many options, so you need to focus. It's just very interesting that kind of my philosophy has even changed throughout the game as my philosophy has in real life. That's intriguing to me. But you march down the streets towards a dueling club, which is located in a manor house decorated rather modestly on the outside, but lavishly on the inside. One of your newfound friends nods to the servants and they let you in. The rooms are stuffy, noisy, and filled with tobacco smoke. The sitting room is enormous. In the center is an arena, a circle with wooden railings. Two young nobles are fighting there already. You take a glass of wine from a servant and watch the fight from one of the many soft chairs. You cannot bear a sword yet, but nobody says you cannot watch. As soon as a dueler is wounded, the fight ends. But the way they fight still makes the audience gasp and scream in awe. When a dueler is too slow to dodge, the duel ends with a bright red line cut through his sweat-soaked white shirt. A thin fencing swords cut through the air so quickly, you only see glints of flashing steel like lightning in a storm. You do your best to remember all the feints and tricks you see tonight. They will come in handy when you own your own sword. But then, a tall, young Arcanian enters the room. He barges in behind you and leaps into the arena between the two fencers, thus ending the duel. He bears a coat of arms with a griffin. This Arcanian hails from the great dynasty of Orgrip. The Arcanian's voice booms as he challenges everyone in the audience to a duel. He sneers smugly. I cannot talk. He sneers smugly. If you consider yourself nobles, then how about they face an Arcanian lord in honorable combat? No one moves. No one dares to step forth. A duel with an Arcanian is suicide, especially if that Arcanian hails from one of the great dynasties. Such a duel will end with a lesser death at best, or a true death through trial and execution at worst. Everyone knows the punishment for spilling blue blood, and so everyone remains silent. The Arcanian grins, so humans are cowards, she says. You'll never be true nobles if you aren't ready to risk a lesser death. Then Arcanian honor and tradition is not for you, and war is not your domain either, for noble humans are but a mockery, a gathering of animals dressed to resemble higher beings. A man leaps into the arena. He is tall as a tree. His pock-marked face is white with rage and covered in scars. There are whispers of reverence in the audience. This is Marth Forsati, the owner of the club. He has accepted the challenge for the honor of all human nobles. He has yearned to fight an Arcanian all his life. Now is his chance. The duelers salute each other, and Sir Forsati begins the attack. A lunge, a jab, another, and then another. The young Arcanian deflects each attack like he knows his opponent's every move. Sir Forsati's eyes twitch with tension. The owner of the club lunges again, but the Arcanian deflects his sword and rips the weapon out of the human's hands. Marth Forsati looks at the Arcanian in confusion, then bows his head in recognition of his defeat. The Orgriff youth flashes a proud, superior grin. His fencing sword lifts the sleeve of his defeated opponent. It bears 3 black marks of lesser death. Now, the young Arcanian eyes Sir Forsati with a mockery of sadness and compassion. Why, it appears the poor, overeager ex-commoner is on his last life. Ooh. Forsati shudders. He asks the Orgriff youth to be so kind as to spare his life. Nobleman to nobleman. The Arcanian face grows dark and grim. His sword then stabs deep into Forsati's chest. Then the Orgriff youth speaks, loud enough for everyone to hear. He is the only noble in the hall, he says, and everyone who saw this must forget the dueling club ever existed and leave this place, never to return. The nobles scowl, dress reluctantly, and leave with quiet resentment. No one dares to defy the Arcanian openly. The noble gathering disperses outside. You return to your lodging house, lost in thought. Arcanians stand far above humans. They do not care if you're a commoner or a hard-ranking noble. In their eyes, you are but a human. It seems there's nothing that can readily oppose Arcanian power. They are the masters of this world, and humans are pale reflections of them, at best. The trip to the dueling club ended on a grim note, but you learned a lot from watching Eterna's best duelers in action. You recalled their lunges and blocks before you sleep, rather than the master of the dueling club being murdered in cold blood. So now we got another point. We are 1 point from being more than a mediocre fighter. We'll become a dangerous enemy. Oh, that is a year pass. So we are now officially 17 years old. And like I said, I think this is a good place to stop this episode. So, yeah. Well, we have arrived in the new city. We've seen its like. We've seen the racism in action. We see the rising, religious tension, and this will naturally lead to political tension. So I'm eager to see, what happens in the next episode and where we end up falling into any of it. So, next time, we will do the second year of our youth. Hope to see you then.